one of the great venues in the National Football League as we're at sold-out Quest Field in Seattle for a key matchup between two divisional leaders, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Seattle Seahawks. The Chiefs come into Week 12 leading in the AFC West at 6-4, and in the NFC West, the Seahawks have cooled off a bit after a hot start, but they have been reinvigorated by the arrival of Pete Carroll. And hello everyone, Bill McAtee along with former NFL MVP Rich Gannon. We welcome all of you to Seattle. This is a big matchup, Rich, for both of these teams. For Kansas City, Matt Castle has really stepped it up. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, he's really playing well. He's making great decisions, as evidenced by the fact he's thrown a league low 4 interceptions. He and Dwayne Bowe have been on a roll.
On defense, the Seahawks will have their hands full today trying to stop this Kansas City running game, which comes in today leading the NFL. These guys have been outstanding.
Well, Bill, what they do better than anyone in football right now is run the ball with Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones. They lead the league in rushing, and both backs are on pace for 1,000-yard seasons.
Meanwhile, for Seattle, their big receiver, Mike Williams, has been battling a foot injury. He tested it in the pregame. He really wanted to go today, but you can tell by his expression, no. So Mike Williams is not going to go today, but Pete Carroll told us the focus this week has been on the Seattle running game.
Yeah, the key for Seattle, not just today, but for the rest of the season, is to get the running game going. For the Seahawks to win this division, Marshawn Lynch has to begin carrying the load for this offense.
All right, let's take a look at your keys today with Gannon's MVPs, most valuable points.
Well, Dwayne Bowe starting to figure things out. He's been on a roll the last month. He has tremendous size and speed, and for him, it's always been about consistency. 6 straight games with the receiving touchdown, 11 on the season, which leads the league. And for Seattle, you got to get Marshawn Lynch and the running game back on track. 2 fumbles last week. They're currently 30th in rushing. They need more consistency and production from this running game.
Todd Haley looking for a big win on the road today where they've lost their last 4. And on the other sideline, Pete Carroll in his first season here in Seattle, coming over after building one of the most successful programs in college football history at USC. So a lot at stake for both teams here in Week 12. The Seahawks won the toss. They've deferred to the second half, so the Chiefs will receive the ball to start the game, and we're underway. Line drive kick fielded by one of the up men. Terrence Copper brings it out across the 25-yard line to the 27-yard line. Matt Castle going against his old college coach at USC, Pete Carroll, today. And Rich, he's been brilliant over the last 6 games. He's got 11 touchdown passes, just 1 interception.
Yeah, the numbers really tell the story, Bill. Completion percentage up from a year ago, yards per attempt, throw more touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He's been absolutely solid.
Opening possession of the ball game. And this place, as always, is rocking. Castle will throw on first down. Has Bowe. And a Kansas City first down across the 40 to the 43-yard line. The Chiefs' offensive line is beaten up, but they have continued to gel as one of the top units in the league this season. Brandon Albert was a game-time decision. He will go today. Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones, the NFL's #1 rushing attack, and Dwayne Bowe having a breakthrough year. He is dangerous on the outside. The last completion was good for 14 yards. From the Kansas City 42. Castle will throw again. Guns it incomplete. That was intended for Grant Tucker. The Seahawks on defense. The guys up front will try to jam up that Kansas City running game. At linebacker, the 3-time Pro Bowler, Lofa Tatupu, has been banged up. He makes everything go in the Seattle defense. Curry and Hawthorne are on the outside, and in the secondary, Marcus Trufant, the Seahawks Pro Bowl corner, is back after a concussion. 2nd and 10 for the Chiefs. They'll run it. Thomas Jones fighting his way across the 45 to the 46-yard line. David Hawthorne made the stop.
Well, that's going to be the challenge today, Bill, for Seattle defensively. Can they stop the running attack with just 7 in the box, or do they have to commit extra defenders and bring the 8th man down, thereby allowing guys like Matt Castle these one-on-one opportunities on the outside lanes. Good look at Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator in Seattle. He said that is the key, whether or not we can hold up in our run defense.
3rd and 6, and the Seahawks will take a timeout.
This is their first.
So we are just underway here in Seattle. 13:33 left to go in the first. Chiefs have done a good job balancing the running game between Jamal Charles and Thomas Jones. They're the only team in the league with 2 600-yard rushers coming into Week 12. Charles with 848, Jones with 644. And let's take a look now at Gannon's film study.
Well, this is the key, Bill. We talked about it. Because the Chiefs run the ball so well, they see a ton of 8-man front, where defenses are forced to commit extra defenders to the line of scrimmage. As a result, there are going to be some excellent opportunities for one-on-one matchups in the passing game. The play-action game to hold the underneath coverage, where Matt Castle and Dwayne Bowe have a field day working the single safety. Just one of the benefits when you're the #1 rushing team in football.
So after the Seattle timeout, 3rd and 6. Castle floats it out. That's caught by Bowe with some running room. And he has a first down into Seattle territory, down inside the 35, close to the 33-yard line.
Well, they do a good job holding up. You're just going to see Dwayne Bowe working her back across the middle of the field. Nice job by Matt Castle anticipating and just floating one out there for Dwayne Bowe. These linebackers really struggle passing things off in zone coverage.
They spotted it at the 35, pickup of 19. Thomas Jones falls forward to the 31. Quinton Balmer made the stop.
I thought it was really important that the Chiefs get off to a good start here today, Bill. They have not exactly been road warriors. Just 1-4 away from Arrowhead. They're undefeated at home, 5-0, but they have not started games particularly well on the road. You have to get out to a good start here in a place like Seattle. The crowd noise can be a real problem.
2nd and 6 from the Seattle 31. Jones stays in the game, alone in the backfield. Castle, short drop, center of the field, caught by Tucker. Tucker's down inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. Earl Thomas made the stop. An impressive opening drive for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, you're just going to watch Tucker. They've done a nice job working the middle of the field, and this is where Seattle has really struggled. You get a good look at Earl Thomas, the safety. Teams are going after him. He's very aggressive. He's been out of position. He's learning on the fly. The middle of the field is an area you have to attack against the Seattle defense.
1st and goal from the 7 after a pickup of 24 yards. Jamal Charles has checked into the game. In the backfield with Castle. Will stay in and block. Castle back in the end zone. Caught by Bowe. Touchdown. His 12th touchdown reception of the season.
Well, they do a really nice job. They're going to work the tight end. Is going to go upfield. Moyaki. He's going to tie some things up, and then Bowe's going to come in right behind him in the back of the end zone. Nice job. The tight end ties him up. Good job by Dwayne Bowe getting both feet in bounds. 7 straight games now with a touchdown catch for Dwayne Bowe.
Ryan Suckup on to try the extra point for Kansas City. And it's good. So how about that opening drive for the Kansas City Chiefs? Castle 4 of 5 for 64 yards and a touchdown. 7-0 Kansas City. An impressive opening drive for the Kansas City Chiefs. Bowe tying a franchise record with his 12th touchdown catch. Castle looked good. Suckup ready to kick it off. Leon Washington, who is the NFL's leading return man with a 30.3-yard average. Back deep, but it's taken by one of the up men. Good field position for the Seahawks. Out to midfield. Cameron Mora, the backup tight end, broke through. Chiefs are up early, 7-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by the new 2011 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Seahawks will start their opening drive in Kansas City territory from the Chiefs' 48-yard line. Sean Lynch down to the 44. Matt Hasselbeck leading the Seahawks on offense. And Rich, everything started to come together. He's really aired it out over the last two games.
Yeah, he's coming off back-to-back 300-yard games. He's spinning the ball well. You know, a lot like Castle. Hasn't made a lot of mistakes, just the 7 interceptions. And people seem to forget this guy's a 3-time Pro Bowler. The Seahawks' all-time leading passer, Matt Castle, can get it done.
They spread him out. Here come the Chiefs on the blitz, able to get rid of it. Obamanu, and he's close to a first down. Seahawks offensive line has been unsettled. They've had 8 different starting combinations this season. Chester Pitts is out today, replaced by Mike Gibson at left guard. The backs and receivers, Mike Williams, who's really been reborn here in Seattle this season, out with a foot injury, and they're still trying to get that running game going with Marshawn Lynch coming over from Buffalo. So 3rd and short. Little stutter step by Lynch. And it's awfully close. It will depend on the spot.
Well, Marshawn Lynch really struggled last week. Put the ball on the ground twice, 2 fumbles. You see right here, Matt is going to have to hand off the ball with that right hand. He's got that brace, that cast on his left hand, making it difficult. It's been a problem a little bit for them in the running game. Marshawn Lynch, he is the key, Bill, for Seattle the next 6 weeks. They're 30th in rushing. They got to crank things up in the running game. I think you go for it here.
Pete Carroll went for it a lot at USC. A little more conservative here in the NFL, but they're going to go.
Well, they're 3 of 9 this year. They tried a quarterback sneak in a very similar situation and didn't get it a week ago. I think you hand the ball to one of these big backs.
From the Kansas City 38-yard line, 4th and inches.
Boy, look at them crowd that line of scrimmage.
First possession for the Seahawks. And they're going to throw it up top. Incomplete. Intended for the rookie Golden Tate. So it will go over on downs. And aggressive play call from Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. Chiefs will take over when we come back leading 7-0. In 2007, the NFL launched NFL Play 60, a national youth health and fitness campaign focused on increasing the health of young fans by encouraging them to be active for at least 60 minutes a day. The NFL has committed more than $200 million to NFL Play 60 in the last 3 years, creating programs in more than 60,000 schools across the country. Well, after the 4th down incomplete pass, Chiefs take over at their own 38-yard line. They lead at 7-0. Seattle has been a slow starting team this year, outscored in the first 69-20. And one thing about Quest Field, it's loud, and it'll get even louder. Charles to the edge, Jamal Charles. And again into Seattle territory.
Well, Bill, I go back to that 4th down. This is a play that Jeremy Bates would love to have back. They throw it in this situation. I have no idea why. You can't pick up a half a yard. I know they're 30th in rushing, but the ability to not even give your offensive line and your running back a chance. They're without a fullback, no Michael Robinson. And so I think in a lot of those situations, they don't have a lot of confidence running the ball with Marshawn Lynch in the single backfield set.
Pickup of 27 yards on the run by Charles. 1st and 10 from the Seattle 35. Castle with time. checks it down, Thomas Jones. And he's brought down close to the 26-yard line by Lawyer Malloy.
Well, I really like the way Kansas City started that last drive. They came out throwing the football. I think that's important, anticipating a lot of heavy fronts, finding Dwayne Bowe in the crossing routes, and also taking some shots. I think that's important on the early downs. When you run the ball as well as Kansas City, there are going to be some opportunities in the passing game.
Castle shifts back under center on 2nd and 2. Jones up the middle, and he'll have another Kansas City first down.
I really enjoyed when we sat down and visited with Thomas Jones last night. You know, he talked about this running attack. He said it's an attitude and it's a mindset with their offense. You know, they have these 9-on-7 drills, these running drills. Typically, teams will do that on Wednesdays at practice. The Chiefs this season have been doing it on Wednesdays and Thursdays, putting the pads on, getting after it. Running the football is a commitment here in Kansas City.
Jamal Charles has checked back in on first down, alone in the backfield. They give it to Charles. Cuts back and another nice pickup. Chiefs' leading rusher came in with 848 yards and 2 touchdowns, 4th in the AFC. Also the Chiefs' 3rd leading receiver, and we have a flag on the play.
Well, it just seems like the Chiefs always have a fresh back in the game. And when you've had enough of Thomas Jones, then they bring in Jamal Charles, and he gets a chance to go to work.
Personal foul, clipping, offense, number 67. 15-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
So they'll bring it back. That's Barry Richardson. Tony Correnti is our referee today.
Todd Haley told us last night, very concerned with the health of his offensive line. Brandon Albert had that groin, didn't practice a lot this week. Getting a chance to see Barry Richardson play left tackle, and that's going to be a matchup to watch. Barry Richardson against Chris Clemens, who already has 7.5 sacks for Seattle.
So on first down, they'll replay it. That's out to Mike Cox, the fullback. And he's out close to the 20-yard line.
You look at Marcus Trufant. He's healthy. They were really beat up last week against New Orleans in the secondary. At one point, they had 3 rookies back there, and Drew Brees, I thought, took advantage of the youngsters, but Marcus Trufant, a veteran, made a lot of big plays over the years for the Seahawks secondary.
High formation. Jones the deep back. They give it to him on the delay. Swarming Seattle defense. Ciavi'i made the stop, who was originally a 2nd-round draft pick by the Kansas City Chiefs. And how about that scene? Pete Carroll, Matt Castle. Never started for Pete at USC, but I'll tell you what, we talked to Pete yesterday, and he has a lot of respect for Matt Castle and what he's done, his athletic ability. Said this guy just wanted to get on the field. He played in special teams, played tight end for a while, and he blew him away on his pro day. That's why he was able to get a shot in the National Football League. On the move, checks it down to Thomas Jones. Nothing there. Babineau, the safety, made the tackle.
Well, they try and surprise him with the screen, and Babineau right there to make a play. It's all about illusion and disguise with this Kansas City offense. They had 3 receivers to the left side of the formation. They tried to run the screen out the back door, and Pete Carroll and his boys were ready for it.
Ryan Suckup on to try a field goal of 43 yards. It's connected on 14 of 18 coming into week 12. Chiefs trying to extend their lead. Already up 7-0. Blocked. Still loose. And we'll have a flag on the play. The ball kicked out of bounds.
Well, I don't believe you can kick the ball in that situation. You certainly can't kick it twice. I think that's what the flag is going to be on Ryan Suckup.
Talking it over with Pete.
who got a hand on that. And some push up the middle there, though, for sure. Special teams have been big here in Seattle.
During the kick, and while the ball was loose behind the line of scrimmage, illegally kicking the ball, number 6, against Kansas City. This penalty will be declined. The ball will be put in play by Seattle where it went out of bounds. First down.
So again, the Seahawks will have tremendous field position after the blocked field goal attempt. 7-0 Kansas City here in the first.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Prudential, the rock you can rely on to meet today's financial challenges. And by Zales, the Diamond Store.
We're back on this beautiful brisk day here in the Pacific Northwest. Craig Terrell blocked the field goal for Seattle, but there's a challenge. Todd Haley challenging, we believe, the spot where the ball went out of bounds. Right now, the Seahawks will have it at their own 47-yard line. Chiefs and the Seahawks have a long and storied history together. This is the 50th meeting between these former AFC West divisional rivals. Another look.
You see Ryan Suckup, he's doing the next best thing. Trying to get it out of bounds. Really a nice job there getting an arm up. First I looked at it, I thought it was Kentuan Balmer. Actually, Terrell gets a hand on it.
Craig Terrell in his 7th year out of Purdue, 6th-round pick back in 2004, who rotates in at defensive tackle. Talking about the series between these clubs, Kansas City leads overall 31-18, including the last time they met, which was back in 2006 at Arrowhead, 35-28. So Tony Correnti will come out and explain things to us. 4:58 left in the first.
After reviewing the play, the ball was blocked behind the line of scrimmage, recovered by a Kansas City player who was then down by contact at the 38-yard line. Seattle will take possession of the ball on their own 38-yard line, first down. Would the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 5:03, and Kansas City is not charged with the timeout.
What a great challenge by Todd Haley there. Saved themselves a bunch of yardage. You'll see the block. Well, the ball's picked up right there. And they're saying he was down by contact. Dustin Colquitt, the holder, picks that ball up, and as he's tackled, looks like probably his right knee was down before that ball actually came out.
So that Matt Castle and company, Matt Hasselbeck and company will go to work from their own 38-yard line. Lynch fighting hard out to the 42-yard line. Eric Berry, the rookie out of Tennessee, the first-round pick, made the stop.
This is really the key right now for Seattle. They got to be able to run the football. There's been so many changes along that offensive line. They talked about 8 different rotations, different starting rotations. That's a recipe for disaster. They need some stability up front with that group.
Offset eyes, 2nd and 5. Lynch again. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Ron Edwards, the nose tackle, led the charge. Let's take a look at our quarterback comparison between these two.
Well, I really like the way both are playing the last couple of weeks. Talked about Matt Castle not making a lot of mistakes, nor is Matt Hasselbeck. I think both look at the completion percentage the last couple of weeks, making good decisions, taking care of the football. The ball is coming out quick. That's why they're playing winning football.
Justin Forsett has checked into the game in the backfield on 3rd and 5. Short drop, out route. Obamanu, the intended receiver. Crowd wanted a flag, but a good defensive play by Jackie Bates, who got the start today for Brandon Flowers.
Well, it's the right idea by Matt Hasselbeck. You go after Brandon Flowers' replacement, Jackie Bates, a first-year player who doesn't have very much experience. Just a better throw there probably gets it done.
So we'll see John Ryan, who's fourth in the NFL with 19 punts inside the 20-yard line. Javier Marinas is back deep, the rookie for Kansas City. Good high punt, fielded at the 21-yard line and brought down almost immediately short of the 25. Bernard Cox made the tackle after a 36-yard punt.
You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Todd Haley on the Kansas City sideline. He hurt his knee a couple weeks ago doing a drill in practice. Had surgery about a week and a half ago, so he's hobbled a bit over on the Kansas City side. Thomas Jones up the middle, out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Lawyer Malloy made the stop. Well, no matter where you are this holiday season, you can stay in the game all year long with the new NFL mobile apps. Search NFL Mobile at NFL.com. 2nd and 6 upcoming for Kansas City. They lead it 7-0. Jamal Charles in the game, alone in the backfield. They toss it to him. To the edge, Jamal Charles. Such a quick burst. Earl Thomas pushed him out of bounds.
Well, it's so important to set the edge with a back like Jamal Charles. And you look at Seattle defensively, did not do a good job sealing the edge. Go back and look right here. Look at this big gap. Got to force a guy like Jamal Charles back up inside where you have help with some of those inside linebackers.
That was good for 12 yards. Came in averaging 6.1 yards a carry to lead the NFL. Thomas Jones is back in the game. They give it to Jones after faking the reverse, and he dives forward close to the 42-yard line.
As you study this Kansas City rushing attack, Bill, there's not a lot of negative plays. Big reason why is they run the ball so well in the early downs. They don't get behind in the down and distance, but even their runs, not a lot of negative runs. I think it's a big reason why they're the #1 rushing team in football.
Well, the Chiefs' offensive line, Rich, has done such a tremendous job protecting Matt Castle this season. They've given up just 15 sacks and lead the NFL, allowing only 44 plays that resulted in, as you said, negative yardage. 7-0 Kansas City. Well, Marcus Trufant was the man down on the field, and he has left to go into the locker room, taken off on a cart, so that's rarely a good sign. We'll update you on his injury as soon as we get that information. Missed practice this week with the effects of a concussion that he suffered last week against the Saints. So 2nd and 8 for the Kansas City Chiefs, leading 7-0. Charles, another big game. 12 carries for 88 yards last week against Arizona. David Hawthorne made the tackle. Charles and Thomas Jones have a great relationship. Thomas is more serious and a focused kind of guy. Jamal, more of a free spirit. He lets things kind of roll off his back. Thomas told us yesterday, he said, hey, that's been great for me. We've been able to help each other, and we've become good friends. 3rd and 1. Charles is in the game, alone in the backfield. From the Kansas City 49-yard line. Charles trying to get to the marker, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds about a yard short. Flag on the play.
Well, it's going to be on Kansas City, but they wouldn't have made it anyway, Bill. They were going to be short. See where that spot was on the sidelines there. They have been really poor in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 situations. The worst in the NFL. We talked to Todd Haley about that last night. Really frustrated. They're the #1 rushing team in football, and yet they can't make a yard.
Offense number 45, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
Now, they can't make a yard in a critical situation. You look at Thomas Jones, he's not a real big back, nor is Jamal Charles.
Well, they call a hold on the tight end, Leonard Pope. They take the penalty, so they move him back. Give him a 3rd and 11. Crowd on their feet here in Seattle.
I don't think they have the spot right. I could be wrong.
Official timeout.
I think they marked that off a little bit deep. There we go.
The question was about the spot of the foul, which was the previous spot. Therefore, the ball is being placed at the 38-yard line, 3rd down.
Just past the 38. So 3rd and 11 for Kansas City after the penalty. And again, they crank it up here at Quest Field.
Well, let's see right here, they're trying to help the left tackle, Barry Richardson, with that tight end over there.
Castle gets rid of it.
That's why Chris Clemens. Kansas City.
Pocket and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Clemens, the former Philadelphia Eagle who came over in a trade in the offseason, came in leading Seattle with 7.5 sacks. So that'll bring up 4th and 11, and we'll see the punter, Dustin Colquitt. Dangerous Leon Washington is the deep man, standing back at his own 15-yard line.
Well, they want to be really careful how they kick this ball to Leon Washington. Directional kicking.
And they block it! Blocked! Touchdown, Seattle! What a play! Earl Thomas, the rookie, blocked the punt.
Well, keep an eye right here. They bring him right off the edge. The block's going to come up the middle, but Kansas City has absolutely no answer. And Earl Thomas is right there to scoop this up. A big play in the kicking game.
So touchdown, Seattle. And the extra point is good. And just like that, we're level at 7 with 31 seconds left to go in the first. Well, we're back. Tied at 7 with 31 seconds left in the first. Kennard Cox blocked it. And Earl Thomas ran it in. The Seahawks have been great on special teams. And that has reinvigorated this crowd here at Quest Field. Lindo Mare ready to kick it off. Duran Tucker's back deep. Short kick taken at the 11-yard line. Tucker tripped up trying to get to the edge. Leon Washington made the tackle. Well, tonight on CBS, a world premiere movie that will touch your heart and leave you smiling. Hallmark Hall of Fame's November Christmas. Tonight, only on CBS.
Boy, nothing like a big play in the kicking game to get you right back in it. Earl Thomas, 5 interceptions already this season, and of course, in the right place at the right time on that block by Kennard Cox.
Castle back under center. Thomas Jones is the deep back. The reverse to Charles, but good penetration. That gummed up the works for Kansas City. Aaron Curry was deep in the backfield.
Boy, Aaron Curry has really come on in his second season and doing a much better job of getting him on the line of scrimmage where I think he's a better player as opposed to 3 or 4 yards off. He's got such great speed and quickness to get on the edge. Does a nice job staying at home, not letting that reverse get by him.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter. We're tied at 7, and we'll return to Seattle after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks have found ways to win despite being 29th in the league on offense and 28th on defense so far today. They blocked a field goal and a few moments ago blocked a punt return for a touchdown. 2nd and 6 for Kansas City from their own 30-yard line. To Charles. Cuts it back inside to the 34-yard line. To Tupu made the stop.
Talk about big plays in the kicking game. They get the blocked kick, the blocked field goal, which was huge. Kept 3 off the board. And of course, a blocked punt. We got a chance, Bill, during the break to look at the Chiefs sideline. Saw Todd Haley over there talking to his special teams coordinator, Steve Hoffman. They got to get things straightened out on special teams. 3rd and 2, the out route to Bo, and that is going to be a first down for Kansas City out to the 39-yard line. Well, Dwayne Bowe has been on a roll the last month. He's really worked at it. And I talk about his size and his speed and all those things. And I've always said it's about preparation and consistency with him. And talking with his quarterback last night, Matt Castle said the thing where he's seen the most improvement from Dwayne Bowe is his practice habits. He's been much better at practice. He's staying after catching balls, and it's really paid off for him the last month.
Coming off a 100-yard game last week against Arizona. Castle checks it down to Charles. Out to the 47-yard line before he was brought down by Aaron Curry.
And that's where I've seen the biggest improvement from Matt Castle from a year ago. You know, they call up shots on first down. If it's not there, he's better with his decision maker. He's quicker with his eyes to get back inside, to check that ball down to one of those backs. Thomas Jones or Jamal Charles on first down could pick up positive yardage.
Jones in the game, 2nd and 2. Ball in motion. Up the middle, Jones. Stops short of midfield and just short of the first down marker.
Well, for Tupu, he's the traffic cop in the middle of that defense. He's been that way from day one. He never comes off the field. They ask him to do a lot of different packages. The key with him, he's very instinctive. His first step is always towards the ball, and when he gets there, somebody's going to get hit.
Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator, said he's important to us. Everyone on our defense is better when he's in there. 3rd and short. Charles bursts through, but a flag on the play.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Barry Richardson. And teams historically have had trouble with the crowd noise here in Seattle. False starts have been an issue.
You talk about the 12th man, how important it is here in Seattle, Bill, as you just mentioned. Look at that false start penalty since 2005. Teams that come in here to Seattle really struggle, and that's why I said it's really important to get off to a good start and take this crowd noise and take these fans out of the game.
So timeout called by the Kansas City Chiefs. 12:18 left to go in the half. We're tied at 7. And we're back. 3rd and 5 after the penalty. Castle up the sideline. Bo with the adjustment and the catch and a first down in Seahawk territory. And right away, they went after Walter Thurman, who's in for Marcus Trufant, who has a leg injury. He will not return, and Thurman is the rookie cornerback out of Oregon.
Bill, you and I were just talking about it, and you said to me, do you think they'll go after the rookie? And they did. Dwayne Bowe done a nice job. Matt Castle throws this back shoulder on purpose. Gets Dwayne Bowe to hold up in the hole there. Nice job. Good timing and rhythm in the passing game.
That was good for 22 yards. Jamal Charles, right side. Down inside the 30, close to the 29-yard line. Siavi'i, the defensive tackle, made the stop. And Trufant, well, we had word that he wasn't coming back, but he looks like a guy who's ready to get back in the game.
Miraculous recovery. He took him off the field in the cart in the first quarter.
2nd and 6 for Kansas City. They're threatening. Just inside the 30-yard line. Jones stood up. Now coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Gower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 12. That's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report.
Seattle's been really good in this part of the field defensively. They also have done a nice job taking the ball away. They have 5 takeaways, the most in the NFL.
High formation. Charles, the deep back, on 3rd and 5. They give it to Jamal Charles. He has a first down and upended at the 21-yard line.
Oh, this is what you have to defend. Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator in Seattle, said that they'll run the ball on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7. They get good push at the point of attack. They get double teams. The guard comes off. Look at how they get up on the second level. A nice job by Ryan Lilja, and of course Tony Moeaki. He can also double as a fullback in those short yardage situations.
He's back after missing last week with a concussion. Moeaki, the tight end. So 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Jones trying to get to the edge. Picks up maybe a yard, brought down by David Hawthorne, the outside linebacker.
Thomas Jones, very impressive back, crafty. He always knows where the holes are going to be. What he's lost in speed, I think he more than makes up for with his experience and his know-how.
He has performed at such a high level for so long, since 2005. Only LaDainian Tomlinson has more rushing yards than Thomas Jones. 11th play of the drive coming. Charles in the backfield with Castle. And just gets rid of it. Siavi'i was applying the pressure.
A little confusion there between
Threw
Matt
the ball
Castle.
beyond the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
Some confusion there between Matt Castle and Dwayne Bowe. Castle was not able to set his feet.
Bowe sort of broke off the route. Look at the drive so far. 3rd and 10. And a timeout. Play clock had gone down to 1 second. 9:08 left in the half. We're level at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Sprint, the Now Network. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the Droid Pro by Motorola. Finally, a work phone worth taking home.
Well, we're back. Big 3rd down for Kansas City from the Seattle 21-yard line. Here they come on the blitz. Castle gets rid of it to Bowe. Right at the sticks. And he'll have a first down.
Well, Seattle decides to bring pressure. You're going to see it right up the middle. They're going to bring the receiver all the way across the formation. As they do, you're going to see the safeties come. Dwayne Bowe does a nice job breaking this route off. Matt Castle, he gets the ball out quickly. Very decisive decision maker.
So they spot it right at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Kansas City. Charles tripped up at the 7-yard line. Walter Thurman made the stop.
You know, these corners are going to have to be able to tackle today. Jamal Charles, a back like Jamal Charles, even if it's designed to go in between the tackles, he has the ability to bounce runs to the edge. And when he gets out on the perimeter, he is a very difficult guy to bring down.
Seahawks have been tough inside the red zone. They're second in the NFC, limiting their opponents to just 17 touchdowns and 43 red zone possessions. Second and goal for the Chiefs. Jamal Charles. And he hit a wall just short of the goal line.
For a nice job on a little delayed draw. Good job by Castle holding him, and then watch Jamal Charles just blow up inside. This is an excellent tackle. I think it's at Hawthorne. Boy, nice job by Hawthorne. I thought for sure Jamal Charles was going to score.
Hawthorne in his third year out of TCU came in time for the team lead in tackles with 52 coming in. So third and goal. Power I formation, Jones the deep back. Touchdown. And they give it to big Sean Smith, the defensive tackle.
Big sexy. Sean Smith. You know, he doesn't get a lot of work in practice.
In his 6th year out of South Carolina, and he is a load.
And he gets hit right away, Bill. Watch this. He gets hit right there, and then he just keeps driving, moving those legs. He's going to hold on to that football.
Yeah, loaded 6'2", 325 pounds. Sucked up with the extra point. And the Chiefs regain the lead with 7:18 left to go in the half. It is now 14-7, Kansas City. Sean Smith, after the touchdown run, getting ready to go back out on defense. The Chiefs had 15 plays on that drive. The Seahawks have run only 7 total plays in the game on offense. Overwhelming advantage to Kansas City in time of possession. Leon Washington, again the deep man. High short kick. Justin Forsett brings it back just across the 30-yard line. And coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from this busy Week 12. That's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report.
Well, this is an important possession for Seattle offensively. You look at time of possession, Bill, as you mentioned, 3 minutes and 21 seconds, just 7 offensive plays of 14 yards. Jeremy Bates, the offensive coordinator, Matt Hasselbeck, they got to get something going here.
Halfway through the second quarter, and the Seahawks still do not have a first down. Marshawn Lynch, the deep back, from their own 31-yard line. Hasselbeck under pressure, dumps it down to Lynch. Dives forward across the 35, close to the 36-yard line. Javon Belcher, the inside linebacker, made the tackle.
Well, I think the Chiefs, the biggest improvement I've seen out of this defense, Kansas City, they're playing well as a group. And at each level, the defensive line, the linebackers, the secondary, one area they've really gotten better is their ability to stop the run. They're currently 12th. They were 31st a year ago. Big reason why Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator.
Carlson with the catch, upended at the 39-yard line by Arenas, the rookie.
And they have a lot more team speed defensively. You look at Arenas there. Eric Berry, the safety, their first-round pick. That's really made a difference for them on the back end. More team speed.
3rd and 2 for Seattle. Trying to get something going on offense. From the shotgun. Hasselbeck. And there's the first down. Complete to Brandon Stokely.
Well, if you're Kansas City, you better find number 15 on 3rd down. Just going to go up and run a little option route. They bring the corner off the edge. Brandon Stokely's able just to sit it down. He is a cornerback's best friend on third down. One of the all-time great, in my opinion, third down receivers that's ever played, Brandon Stokely.
Signed at the end of September. He had 6 catches for 76 yards last week against New Orleans. Hasselbeck sidearms it out to Butler. Butler falls forward, close to the 48-yard line. Derek Johnson made the tackle.
Well, it's not going to be easy today for Matt Hasselbeck, particularly without his go-to guy, Mike Williams. They're going to have to find a way to generate some big plays down the field, absent Mike Williams, who's out with that foot injury.
And you see the cast on the left hand. Hasselbeck has been playing hurt with 2 small cracks in his left wrist. And that has taken a lot of adjustment. 2nd and 7, 3-step drop. Caught by Obamanu. Bates closed in a hurry to bring him down.
Well, you mentioned Matt Hasselbeck with the injury, and that was a concern for this organization. And I think it's a big reason why they made the move for Charlie Whitehurst. As you said, he missed 12 games over the last 3 seasons, 11 over the past 2, and he's been fairly healthy this year.
Well, we talked to him yesterday, and he's excited about this new regime and everything that Pete Carroll is bringing to the program. Hasselbeck miscommunication. The receiver had fallen down. It looked like a collision between 2 receivers, Obamanu and Stokely, and Stokely slow getting up.
Oh, that did not look good. Both receivers actually ran into each other. They were trying to run a pick play.
Picked each other. Stokely not happy. 4th and 2. Seahawks will have to punt. Arenas back deep for Kansas City.
Intentional grounding. Offense carries the loss of down. 4th down.
So it'll get a little worse.
Yeah, you see both receivers actually ran into each other, and I think Matt Hasselbeck was saying that he thought the one receiver was going to go up the rail.
That's what Pete's saying right now. 2 guys in the area, but intentional grounding. John Ryan standing back on his own, call it the 28-yard line. Over in boot. And an early flag, and Arenas brought down hard. Great punt coverage by the Seahawks. Well, let's check the penalty. Justin Forsett made the tackle, and he was down the field in a hurry.
Well, their coverage units in here in Seattle have been outstanding.
Player of the offense went out of bounds, came back in. This 5-yard penalty will set up 4th down after a 5-yard penalty.
So they're going to move him back 5 more yards and punt it again. Listen to this hit.
What a train wreck.
Forsett was down there quickly. So was Will Herring, backup linebacker.
Well, you
So
hate to give him another chance.
Yeah, it's 4th and 17. Ryan back at his own 22 now. Chiefs could have decent field position here. Boy, that's a great punt. Arenas back to the 6. Javier Arenas trying to get to the edge and just tripped up. Otherwise, he may have gone a long way. And limping as he gets up after a 56-yard punt and a 14-yard return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Viagra. And by Chevrolet.
Chiefs take over at their own 20-yard line with 3:50 left to go in the first half, leading 14-7. Marcus Trufant, we had gotten word from the Seahawks that he was done for the day, but he's back out there. Thomas Jones in the backfield for the Chiefs. Oyaki in motion. Play action. Castle, lots of time. He checks it down to Jones. Dives forward across the 30, close to the 31-yard line. Well, got a sports fan on your gift list. CBSSports.com shop has officially licensed NFL gear and get 3-day shipping on every order. Go to shop.cbssports.com.
Boy, Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, is doing a really good job calling some passes on 1st and 10. Really taking advantage of some looks that they're getting from Seattle defensively.
Jamal Charles has already had a big day. Castle flushed in the pocket. He's going to take off. He's a good athlete. And into Seattle territory.
Seattle is so committed to getting extra defenders up around the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10 to slow down Thomas Jones and Jamal Charles. But Charlie Weiss is calling a lot of passes on 1st down. Some play action shots. Matt Castle doing a nice job sorting through it, making good decisions. If it's not there down the field, you've seen him a number of times today check it down to those backs and pick up some positive yardage on 1st down.
That was good for 22 yards, and they spot it at the Seattle 47-yard line. Toss back to Jones. Trying to get to the perimeter and out of bounds. They'll spot it at the 42-yard line. Charles, 10 carries, 83 yards. Jones, 10 carries and 24 yards.
Well, I thought that he was a great add this offseason, Thomas Jones, and I think he brings instant leadership and toughness to this offense, and I think it's also helped Jamal Charles. Just having a veteran player that has taught him the importance of preparation and detail in his game.
Previous play was the longest run in Matt Castle's career. Flushed from the pocket here, gets rid of it, incomplete. Bo, the intended receiver. So we've reached the 2-minute warning. Here in Seattle, the Chiefs lead it 14-7. Puget Sound and the marvelous Seattle skyline on this terrific day. Here in the Pacific Northwest, a big 3rd down upcoming for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have dominated the game, but only lead by 7. 1:57 left to go in the half. Seahawks showing blitz.
Yep.
Castle changing the play. And here they come. Short drop, slant, Bo. And that is good for a 1st down.
Bill, that's really where Matt Castle has really taken over this offense. He does a nice job with the recognition. He sees the pressure, and then he changes the play where you see the Chiefs do a nice job switching this thing off. But great job by Castle recognizing the pressure, maxing it up, taking a good strong drop, and making a nice throw to Dwayne Bowe.
Earl Thomas brought him down in a hurry, but not before he picked up the 1st down.
Previous play will go under review.
Challenge in the spot. They're looking at the spot inside 2 minutes.
Todd Haley has had a almost an ongoing dialogue with the officials throughout the game. Let's see if we can pick up. Look forward progress.
The review is to determine whether or not the line to gain had been reached.
Well, that's going to be close, isn't it? It's a great tackle there by Earl Thomas. Seen a number of big hits out of the Seattle secondary.
Earl Thomas already has a touchdown on the block punt. 14th player selected overall. The Seahawks were thrilled that he fell to them there after getting Russell Okung at 5. That was a pretty good start for the Pete Carroll era here in Seattle.
I think John Schneider, the general manager, and Pete Carroll have done an outstanding job since taking over. I mean, they've reshuffled this roster. They're constantly looking for players that can come in here and compete and challenge for starting positions. And as you mentioned, Bill, Pete has wanted to create competition at every position. I think he's done that.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field will stand. First down.
So fresh set of downs for Kansas City with 1:24 left to go in the half. Carroll has been really aggressive since he took over in January. He's made roughly 260 roster moves, and there are 11 players on the current 53 who weren't with the team when the season started back in September. Seahawks need to make a defensive stand here. Castle gets rid of it. Bow, touchdown, Kansas City. Dwayne Bowe all alone.
Well, they've been hurt by the big play all year, this Seattle defense. 43 completions of 20 yards or more. That's the most in the National Football League. You're going to watch the safety gets turned around in the middle of the field. And that's the problem. It's actually Marcus Trufant, who's back in the back end. But he sees the inside receiver go up the middle of the field, and he takes his eyes off of Dwayne Bowe working the boundary.
Succop wanted to try the extra point after the 36-yard touchdown catch by Bowe, who now has 13 touchdown receptions on the season. And it comes with 1:12 left in the half. 21-7 Kansas City. Well, tonight on The Amazing Race, a sushi showdown could push the teams to the limit. Don't miss a new Amazing Race after 60 minutes tonight, only on CBS, America's #1 network.
Well, they're trying to go after the safety, Marcus Trufant. You're going to see him right here. And the way they do it, they motion out, and Tony Moyaki's going to go up the field. But what they really want to do is put the pressure on the safety, and now right down the bottom of the screen, they never feel Dwayne Bowe. A little unusual for Marcus Trufant, who's a natural corner, to be playing safety in that particular package. The Chiefs do a good job taking advantage of his inexperience in the middle of the field.
Leon Washington back deep after the Bowe touchdown, awaiting the kickoff from Ryan Succop. Again, it's a short kick. Washington will field it at the 17-yard line. And upended at the 27. Corey Greenwood made the tackle. And Bowe, another outstanding day here in Seattle.
Well, they got it started. They came right out with some play action, some crossing routes, and of course, the big catch in the back of the end zone. Dwayne Bowe, as I said before, Bill, his practice habits, that's where it really starts with a guy like him. He's worked on his consistency. He's catching the ball better. And, of course, once he gets it in his hands, good things happen.
Chiefs' first-round pick in 2007. Hasselbeck able to somehow get rid of it to force set. He had people draped all over him.
Well, he's a big receiver, Dwayne Bowe. And really on a roll right now. We've mentioned 7 straight weeks now where he's had a touchdown, 2 today.
6 catches for 109 and a couple of touchdowns last week against Arizona. 2nd and 2, just over a minute remaining in the half. Hasselbeck, center of the field to Butler, incomplete.
Well, we're seeing a lot more man-to-man out of this Kansas City secondary. When we sat down with Matt Hasselbeck yesterday, he talked about as a team that historically has played a lot of zone coverage, but lately they're playing a lot of man-to-man, and they're getting a much better pass rush up front. I think that's really helped them on the back end.
So 3rd and 2 for Seattle. From the shotgun, they're set in the backfield. Hasselbeck. And that is caught. Nice grab by Stokely. Clock continues to run. Catches it at the 45-yard line. And Seattle will take a timeout.
Well, you have to put your best cover guy on Brandon Stokely on third down, because a majority of time that's where the ball is going to go.
Well, from TV's #1 comedy to the #1 new comedy, the #1 news magazine, the #1 news show, and the #1 show on television. Thanks for making CBS America's #1 network. I hope all of you are enjoying this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Good to be with you here in Seattle. Seahawks and the Chiefs. Kansas City leading at 21-7, 49 seconds left in the half. Todd Haley told us that this is really an important measuring stick kind of game for Kansas City. He said, we want to be a good team, and good teams can go on the road and beat other good teams, particularly this grinded out part of the season.
This is hard for an offense, Bill, to really find your rhythm. We talked about the time of possession. Seattle hasn't had a lot of plays here in the first half, and difficult for a quarterback, difficult for the offensive coordinator. You see Jeremy Bates right there. To get your quarterback into a rhythm when you're 3 and out, you're punting the ball away, and your defense is on the field the majority of the first half. They have to be able to make some adjustments at halftime and come out here and get things cranked up in the second half.
Jeremy Bates was in Denver, then with Pete Carroll last year at USC, and came over with Pete from the Trojans. Forsett is in the game. 1st and 10. Intercepted. Kendrick Lewis.
And this is not a good throw, and it's not a good decision by Matt Hasselbeck. I would classify that as a force. And that's something that Matt has done a pretty good job of the last couple of weeks, not forcing throws. This is late down the middle. Kansas City's in their 2 deep coverage. Look how deep the linebackers are, and even underneath coverage. And you can't do that in that situation. Kendrick Lewis was right there to make the play. We talk about late down the middle, making good decisions.
3 Kansas City jerseys in the area. The pass was intended for Stokely. So Castle with 42 seconds left in the half. Chiefs trying to add to their lead. They throw on 1st down, and that was almost picked off by Seattle.
There's another example of late down the middle.
Moiaki was the intended receiver, Rich.
Yeah, trying to force one in. And
well, Eric Berry gets a lot of the attention, the Chiefs' #1 pick, but Todd Haley told us that Kendrick Lewis has been impressive. He said he's very smart, and he has a tremendous understanding of the game. And that time it paid off with a turnover. 2nd and 10 for the Chiefs, 38 seconds left in the half. They run the screen to Charles. Trying to get him in the open field. Ball's on the ground, and the Seahawks have it.
with 2 timeouts left. Great field position. Now let's see if they can do something with it.
And Marcus Trufant with the fumble recovery.
Well, they just try a little slip screen to Jamal Charles. Seattle is right there. Nice job reaching in. Is that Raheem Brock that got the arm in there? And a good effort by Raheem Brock. Just reaches in there as Jamal Charles is trying to spin out. You can see right here, desperately tries to get that ball back. Marcus Trufant right there to scoop it up.
28 seconds left for Hasselbeck and the Seahawks from the Kansas City 43-yard line. Slant incomplete. There was a battle going on. Deion Butler was the intended receiver. Bates had the coverage. No flag.
Well, Jackie Bates fortunate there. Might have had an arm on him.
Only the second game he's played in this season. His first year out of Hampton. Got the start today for Brandon Flowers. Flowers out with a hamstring injury. 25 seconds left in the half. 2nd and 10. Forsett the lone back. Stays in to block. caught. Stokely.
Well, they just run a little deep out to Brandon Stokely. Great timing and rhythm by Matt Hasselbeck, and he has had a lot of success working Brandon Stokely. He's been his go-to guy. He's a veteran player that understands coverages, knows how to sit down in those holes.
Good for 12 yards and a first down. 21 seconds left.
There he is. Just keep feeding it to him.
Hasselbeck, pump fake, gets rid of it to Butler. Butler dropped immediately.
Timeout.
Clock stopped with 14 seconds left in the half. Pete Carroll, and we had a chance to visit with him yesterday, and I know you've not really spent much time around him, Rich, but you came away impressed.
Well, actually, he and I were together in Minnesota in 1987. He was a secondary coach, but you're right, Bill. I've not been around him in the last 15 years or so, and he's done an excellent job, not only at USC, but coming here and starting his program. And he's got a lot of energy. Everyone you talk to, the assistants, the players, he says that's who he is. He's an energetic coach. He's passionate about the game. He's a wonderful teacher. And you look at this football team, they're in first place in their division. I really think that they maybe go 9-7, 8-8, and win this NFC West.
2nd and 4. 14 seconds left. And now the Chiefs will take a timeout.
When you think about the NFC West, I mean, it's really up in the air. And Seattle really in a position to kind of control their own destiny.
That was Kansas City's last timeout, so neither team with the timeout remaining.
This is where the good teams begin to separate. Look at this division right here. I mean, look at that. St. Louis, San Francisco. A lot of people thought San Francisco would be a team. Arizona coming off back-to-back division titles. Seattle, in my opinion, has the best quarterback, the most experienced quarterback, and the best chance to win this division. They're very tough here at home.
2nd and 4 with 14 seconds remaining. The Kansas City 25-yard line.
Oh,
what a grab! Out of bounds. Tremendous concentration by Butler.
What a great throw by Matt Hasselbeck. He pumps the safeties, working the right side of the field. Now watch him lay this up between the corner and the safety, but Butler just can't get that left foot down. You're going to see Stokely. He's going to hold the safety, but a perfect throw here gets it done, but Butler just can't get that left foot in bounds.
So 9 seconds remaining. 3rd and 4. Hasselbeck, lots of time. Going deep. Butler again, the intended receiver, and again out of bounds.
Well, he looked to me like he was throwing it away. Just trying to be careful, making sure he didn't turn it over.
And also,
yeah, I think he's just throwing that one out of the back of the end zone.
He had to get rid of it because only 2 seconds was left on the clock.
Yeah, the one thing he couldn't do there is take the sack.
So Olindo Mare on to try the field goal. He's been terrific this year from 43 yards out. On its way and good. So points for Seattle. That's the end of the first half, and we'll be back with the Sprint halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS as the Chiefs lead it at halftime 21-10. Getting ready to start the second half here in Seattle, 21-10 Chiefs. Bill McAtee back with Rich Gannon. What do the Seahawks have to do to get something cranked up on offense in the second half?
Bill, I think they got to start over. I mean, they've been awful on third down. The big reason why they've been bad on third down, the numbers have been big. They're having a lot of success on first down. Marshawn Lynch, 4 carries for 9 yards. That's not going to get it done. John Carlson, the tight end, he needs to be more involved in the passing game. I think they need to start throwing the ball some on first down, really helping their quarterback get going a little bit, get back in rhythm. They have really struggled.
All right, let's take a look now at the Droid Pro moment presented by Motorola. Matt Castle hit Dwayne Bowe twice for touchdowns in the first half as the Chiefs built a 21-10 lead. This from 36 yards out. Leading the National Football League with 13 touchdown catches and setting a new franchise record. Seattle will have the football to start the third quarter. Matt Hasselbeck ready to go back to work. Matt Castle, another solid performance from him. And Leon Washington, he'd love to break a big play. Dangerous. Returned 2 for touchdowns earlier this season against San Diego. And here we go, underway in the second half. Washington from the 6-yard line. Brings it out to about the 28. Let's take a look at the numbers from the first half.
Well, we talked about total domination and time of possession. You look right there. Look at the plays of 20 yards or more. That's been huge. And look at the rushing yards. 131-9. Seattle has got to get Marshawn Lynch going, but I think you got to throw the ball on first down, Bill. I really do. They've not had success moving that defensive line up front. There has been some opportunities on those outside lanes.
Still very much in the ball game at 21-10. Hasselbeck going deep. Obamanu. What a catch. Spin Obamanu.
Somebody's listening to me. I said, give the quarterback a chance on first down.
He outdueled Bates and Lewis for the football.
But really nice job. They went after Bates. Nice job by Obamanu, and nice job by Hasselbeck, giving him a chance. A perfect throw there gets it done.
51 yards, and Bates is down on the turf.
Well, this is what they needed. They needed a big play to kind of get them going offensively. Have to give these receivers a chance to make a play.
So a timeout on the field. We'll step aside here early in the third.
Telecast.
We're back, and while we were away,
Pass interference, defense, number 59.
Seattle ran a play.
First down.
Pass interference. It was intended for Chris Baker, the tight end, and Javon Belcher got called for pass interference.
Well, he just nice release by the tight end. Javon Belcher right there. He just gets there a little bit early before the tight end can make a play. The thing that could help Baker there is stepping back into the throw.
First down, Hasselbeck at the goal line. Touchdown, Chris Baker, who signed in the offseason after 7 years with the Jets and one with New England, and he has a touchdown for Seattle.
Really nice job. You're just going to see the tight end is just working right in the middle of the field. Nice job, the old Hank route. He might have been down. Might have been down. That knee might have been down.
Lindomare on to try the extra point for Seattle, and just like that, they're right back in the game. They had 71 total yards in the first half. The long pass play to Obamanu was worth 52 yards, almost doubling their total offensive production in one play.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Best Buy. Get the best tech gifts this holiday from Best Buy. And by Toyota.
The Seahawks strike quickly here in the second half. Big play is the 52-yarder to Obamanu, and so it is now a 4-point game. 21-17, Kansas City, who has been dominating. Seattle has been able to find ways to win. Tucker, the deep man, will let that go into the end zone, and will take a knee.
Well, you go back and you look at the tight end. All they're going to do is cross the routes. The tight end goes shallow, but look at Baker just work in the middle of the field. But keep an eye on the safety. His initial drop, he's concerned about the two receivers. Doesn't feel the tight end working right in the middle of the field. Just a big hole for Matt Hasselbeck. I really like the tempo of that drive for Seattle. They're getting in and out of the huddle a little quicker. They were throwing the ball some on first down. It's really important for them to come out and have success here early in the third quarter.
So Matt Castle will go to work. 15 of 20 for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half. Charles to the edge. And hammered, driven out of bounds hard on the sideline.
Boy, that was a hit.
Earl Thomas.
Well, they're having success again, getting the ball in the perimeter with Jamal Charles. But listen to this on the bounce. Boom!
He can absolutely bring it.
Earl Thomas.
Seahawks told us one of the problems is sometimes he's too aggressive, and offenses have been able to take advantage of that. Second and short. Charles again, and he'll have a first down for Kansas City out to the 34-yard line.
Well, look at it.
Charles, 11 carries, 12 now for 97 yards.
You know, it's amazing when you consider that every time Jamal Charles touches the ball, he's averaging over 6 yards a carry. He can run with power up inside. He has the speed to get on the edge. I think he's a home run hitter. He can score from anywhere on the field. You pair him with Thomas Jones, that is a lot to handle for any defense.
Came in leading the NFL with 28 runs of 10 yards or more. Jones tripped up at the line of scrimmage by Chris Clemens.
I think Chris Clemens has had an outstanding season here in Seattle. You mentioned the fact that he's been unbelievable off the edge with 7.5 sacks, but I think he's gotten better in his run defense. See, 34 tackles, 7.5 sacks, leads the team.
Former Eagle in his 7th year out of the University of Georgia.
They've been very concerned of how they're going to handle him today off the edge.
Charles is back in. Castle will throw. Charles started to run with it before he was able to bring it in. And let's check in now with JB in New York for an update.
Bill McAtee, Rich Gannon, take a look here. Jake Cutler, boy, he's on fire right now. 4 touchdown tosses and 9 completions. Hooking up here with Greg Olsen on 1st and 10. It is 28-13 Chicago out in front of Philadelphia. That in the third. Back to Bill and Rich.
That's a little bit of a surprise. Kansas City has been great on 3rd down today, 7 of 9. But facing a 3rd and 10. And the noise is back here at Quest Field. Castle batted down. Chiefs will have to punt.
You know, as I was studying tape, preparing for this game, you look at Mebane there, he gets the sack. They knocked 5 balls down last week for Drew Brees. Watch as they rush, they have their eyes on the quarterback. Now watch him get his hands up right here. This Seattle defensive line has been outstanding this year at batting passes at the line of scrimmage.
Mebane in his 4th year out of Cal, a 3rd-round pick in 07. Chiefs' only previous punt was blocked. Washington back deep. Oh, Colquitt gets this one off, put off the side of his foot. Takes a Kansas City roll and goes out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. 12-17 left to go in the third. We've got a good one here in Seattle. Seattle 71 total yards in the first half. That last drive that started the third quarter was good for 65 yards. After the great roll, a 46-yard punt for Kansas City. Hasselbeck checks it down. Lynch still on his feet. Spins out of 1 tackle. Out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. Tonight on 60 Minutes, they wrote the music for Spider-Man the Musical, but you'll only see U2 perform it on 60 Minutes. That's tonight, only on CBS, America's #1 network. 2nd and 3 for Seattle. They trail by 4. Lynch still trying to run the football. Stopped at about the 29-yard line. Marshawn Lynch, in his 4th year out of Cal, acquired from the Bills on October 5th. And Seattle would love to get the beast loose, but he came in averaging just 3.1 yards a carry.
Well, that's been a problem all season. I mean, their inability to run the football. They haven't had a 100-yard rusher all season. We talked about that earlier, and they've broken the 100-yard mark as a team in just 4 of their 10 games.
3rd and short for Seattle. Lynch, first down.
Always important to get your quarterback off to a good start. That didn't happen for Seattle in the first half, but it certainly did in the second half. Big throw downfield to Obamanu. Thought the ball was coming out of his hands quicker, making good decisions, willing to check it down to the backs on the early down. We just saw it there to Marshawn Lynch.
Seahawks today without Mike Williams. He's been a big part of this Seattle offense, especially over the last 2 games. 17 catches for 254 yards, back-to-back 100-yard games. Obamanu, a great second effort from Ben Obamanu, finally brought down by Derek Johnson.
Well, but they've been much better on first down here in the second half, getting positive yardage, and they're throwing it. And that's really helped. The ball coming out quick, a little bubble screen. It's his 3rd, think about Matt Hasselbeck, Bill. It's his 3rd different play caller in the last 3 years, and it's been a filling out period between Jeremy Bates and Matt Hasselbeck. He's had to learn what Matt does well and adjust and tailor the plan to suit his strengths.
4 catches, 72 yards for Obamanu. And how about directing traffic? Incomplete. Deion Butler was the intended receiver.
Well, the protection has been much better here in the second half. I think big reason why is they're throwing a little bit on first down. I think they have the Chiefs off balance a little bit.
Word on Jackie Bates, the cornerback, is that he's got a knee injury and his return is questionable.
It's a game about adjustments, your ability to make adjustments at halftime.
2nd and 10 from the 43 of the Seahawks. Hasselbeck flush from the pocket, now sacked. Sean Smith.
Nice job by Sean Smith. But this ball has got to come out. Matt Hasselbeck has plenty of time. You see Sean Smith. Look, nice job in the pocket. Plenty of time. But boy, he just holds it too long. And I think that more than anything was a coverage sack. Nice job in the secondary. As I was looking downfield, there was really no one to throw it to.
Big day for Sean Smith. He scored a touchdown, a sack there. Started today ahead of Tyson Jackson at left defensive end. Forsett is in the game. 3rd and 13 for Seattle.
A lot of 2-deep man coverage.
Extra protection. Hasselbeck gets rid of it. Picked off. And a turnover for Kansas City. Travis Daniels, the backup cornerback.
Well, they're trying to throw the ball in the slot again, and you're going to see right here. Look at Travis Daniels. He's just going to bait him. They're actually playing zone coverage. Watch Travis Daniels just jump this curl route. And I don't know if that didn't hit the ground. But a nice play by Travis Daniels reading that thing out. Boy, that would have been a great catch if, in fact, he didn't trap it on the ground.
Well, we've got the
sure he did.
Challenge flag out. Pete Carroll will challenge this. So 8:59 left in the 3rd. 4-point game, 21-17 Kansas City.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the official wireless service provider of the NFL. And by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback.
Back in Seattle, still awaiting the results of the challenge from Tony Correnti, our referee today.
After reviewing the It is an incomplete pass. The ball will go back to Seattle. It'll be 4th down and 13 yards to gain at their own 40-yard line. Seattle will not be charged with a timeout.
No interception, and it was pretty clear from the replay that the ball was trapped.
Would have been an unbelievable catch, but you can see right that ball actually going to hit the ground right there. Travis Daniels tries to scoop it up. That's the next best thing, gets up and starts running with it as if he did catch it.
Kansas City will get the football. John Ryan on to punt. Arenas is back deep, standing at his own 11-yard line. Arenas came in ranked 5th in the AFC with a 9.4-yard return average. High punt, fair catch called for by Arenas, and he makes it at the 21. A 39-yard punt. Castle and the Chiefs will go back to work and take a look at who he's played behind throughout his career, going back to USC, a couple of Heisman Trophy winners and a 2-time Super Bowl MVP.
And just some bad timing when you think about it. It's interesting when you look at Matt Castle threw just 32 passes at SC. As you mentioned, Bill, never started.
He said he was so out of the loop that when they were giving the Wonderlic test, he stumbled across the room. He said, hey, I want to take the Wonderlic test. He only had 15 minutes to take it. Everybody else had 30 minutes. Incomplete. Leonard Polk, the tight end, was in the vicinity.
They're really amazing when you think about it. It was a 7th-round pick of New England, and just off his workout. He came out and had an unbelievable workout, Pete Carroll said.
He was the last one to go at USC's Pro Day. He had everything riding on that performance, and he said he nailed it. He didn't miss a throw, showed great arm strength and accuracy and athleticism, and by the end he had 15 scouts around him giving him business cards and asking for tape, and the only tape he had, he said, was the spring game.
And Pete said it's a perfect example. You don't even have to play at SC to get drafted.
2nd and 10, short drop to Bo. Out of bounds a couple yards short of a first down. Trufant made the stop.
Well, Dwayne Bowe, I've really been impressed with him so far today. Simple little hitch route, catches the ball. He is a physical receiver. And you really have to get your hands on him at the line of scrimmage and try and disrupt him.
9 catches, 128 yards and 2 touchdowns today for Bo. Castle goes right back to him, incomplete on 3rd and 2.
Well, I think Matt Castle was a little bit early there. Dwayne Bowe no sooner got his head around, the ball was on him.
Washington back deep for Seattle. Added such a dangerous element to this Seahawks return game. Always a threat to bring it back. Standing at his own 20-yard line. Colquitt. Washington at the 16. Still on his feet. Retreats and brought down at the 12. 8:13 left to go in the 3rd. That was a 55-yard punt. 21-17 Kansas City. And we're back. The Chiefs came in today leading the AFC West at 6-4. The Seahawks at 5-5 in the NFC West. Also back incomplete, intended for Butler. Came in with 25 catches for 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3rd-round pick last year in his 2nd year out of Penn State.
Well, you got to make those catches.
And the Seahawks today without Mike Williams. Such a big part of the Seattle offense. One of the great comeback stories in the NFL this season. Getting new life under his former college coach Pete Carroll. 2nd and 10 for Seattle.
Trying to spread them out, empty Novak.
Hasselbeck fires. That's caught by Stokely. It's such a veteran move after getting the football. And he has a first down for the Seahawks.
Well, he is causing problems, and it's not that difficult. He's just working up the field. You're just going to see him as he comes up. He's just going to sit down in the hole. against zone coverage. That's the matchup you want. You see Tom Bahali there, number 91. You want a guy like Brandon Stokely on the Chiefs' best pass rusher, Tom Bahali.
Stokely caught every pass thrown his way last week, 6 of 6. Matt Hasselbeck said, how do we get you 7? He says, throw 7 to me. Floats it out. Incomplete. Arenas had the coverage. Moore was the intended receiver, the tight end.
Well, at least they're taking some shots. I like it. Take your shots on first down. Jeremy Bates has done a nice job, Bill, getting in some of these empty sets and going after this Chiefs secondary. They bring pressure. Matt Hasselbeck knows he has one-on-one. Oh, you got to make those catches. Boy, they've dropped some balls that they just...
There was a little early contact there. The Arenas may have gotten away with one. 2nd and 10. Hasselbeck. And that's caught again by Stokely. And he has a first down. He knows exactly where those sticks are.
It may be time to start doubling Brandon Stokely, because he's becoming an issue here for this Kansas City defense.
12th year out of southwestern Louisiana. And he's the kind of guy who really has been underestimated throughout his entire career. Seattle has suddenly cut the gap of first downs 17 to 10, starting to get things going offensively. Forsett with the carry across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Javon Belcher made the stop. He had 8 tackles last week against Arizona.
I think talking about the problems they've had running the ball, the different starting rotations, and all those changes along the offensive line. Difficult to develop any continuity and consistency with that group. But every time you line up, you have a new player next to you. I think that's one of the big reasons why they've really struggled running the football this season.
At one point, the gap in first downs was 16 for Kansas City and only 1 for Seattle. 2nd and 6. Hasselbeck. Incomplete. Butler.
Another drop.
Wow.
Well, just a little simple in route. Nice job clearing it out. It's right there. It's right on him. You got to make those catches. Giving you opportunities.
How much are they missing Mike Williams right now?
Well, they are. They're missing the big plays from Mike Williams. And not only that, but the runs after the catch. And that can be frustrating for a quarterback's perspective. You're making good decisions, good reads, and good throws, and the receivers just aren't bringing them in.
3rd and 6. Forsett and Washington are both in the backfield, and Hasselbeck's going to take a timeout. Didn't like the look he was seeing from the Kansas City Chiefs. 6:15 left in the 3rd. It's a 4-point game here in Seattle.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Kansas City leading it 21-17. Short timeout for the Seahawks. Hasselbeck calling the timeout there.
See John Carlson coming into the huddle, and he's been asked to block a lot because they don't have Michael Robinson up their fullback. The only fullback that they carry on the roster, and so I think that's really hurt his production in the passing game.
So now it's Forsett alone in the backfield. Shotgun. Hasselbeck under pressure. Batted up in the air and incomplete. So that'll bring up 4th and 6, and the Seahawks will have to punt. And slow getting up, Russell Okung.
Yeah, they can't afford to lose him. You're going to see right there at the end. Looks like Dorsey might have rolled up on him. That left knee just kind of tweaks.
Wallace Gilberry tipped the football, and they do not want to see that.
Well, very little practice time for Okung. He's played just 11 quarters, and I think that he's going to be a fantastic player.
He's been battling an ankle injury, and Seahawks really want to see him on the field. High punt, they're going to let it bounce. Takes a Kansas City bounce and finally is down. 6 minutes left in the third. Well, Saturday, CBS Sports begins its 30th road to the Final Four with the two winningest teams in college basketball history as Kentucky and North Carolina clash in the season premiere of NCAA basketball on CBS. That was only a 29-yard punt. Kansas City will take over at their own 29-yard line. Jamal Charles is in the game in the backfield. 97 yards on 12 carries. There's number 13 trying to get to the corner and out of bounds.
The Seattle defense has stiffened here a little bit in the second half. And giving up those big explosive plays, which have been a problem all season and really hurt them in the first half.
Aaron Curry, you saw him a moment ago. He had a huge game a couple weeks ago at Arizona with 2 sacks, forced fumble, and 7 solo tackles. Chiefs told us Curry may be the most dangerous player the Seahawks have on defense because he's so athletic and so fast. You always have to account for him. Quick hitch out to Copper. And Copper's close to a first down. I think he's got it at the 40. Kelly Jennings, the right corner, made the tackle.
Hasn't seen a lot of action today.
Copper came in with 12 catches for 117 yards in his 7th year out of East Carolina. So 1st and 10 for Kansas City. They lead it by 4. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third. Jones. Tough yards. Off right tackle to the 42. Raheem Brock made the tackle.
Well, defensive line's doing a nice job here, Bill. And they've had a number of injuries along there that haven't helped. Losing Red Bryant for the season and an ankle injury that's currently hindering Colin Cole, who's not playing. And it's affected them inside in their run defense as well as their ability to generate a pass rush.
Charles alone in the backfield on 2nd and 8. Castle will take off. Dives forward, and it'll be spotted just short of the 44-yard line.
Well, good pressure off the edge forces Matt Castle there to have to step up back inside and just had nowhere to throw it.
That'll bring up 3rd and 6. The Seahawks have historically been very tough at home. They come in today having won 3 of their last 4 at Questfield. They'll close out the season with 4 of their last 6 games here in Seattle, including today. 3rd and 6. Jamal Charles in the game. Castle under pressure. Spins out of it. What a great individual effort that was. Complete to Bo, and he's got a first down, and that was all Matt Castle.
Well, Chris Clemens, he comes off the edge and really forces Matt Castle. He's going to beat Barry Richardson right off the line of scrimmage. Just watch him off the edge. But Matt Castle does a nice job stepping up inside. Look at Barry Richardson. He gets beat cleanly, but the athleticism of Matt Castle and the alert play of Dwayne Bowe, good enough to convert for a first down.
Into Seattle territory at the 48-yard line of the Seahawks. Castle will throw on first down. Brings it in. He's going to take off again. Hook slide at the 42-yard line.
I always like a quarterback that can pull the ball down and make some plays with his legs. And we've seen Matt Castle's mobility today be a big factor. The ability to pull it down and pick up some positive yardage, run for some first downs, keep those chains moving.
He was so competitive when he was at USC and wanted to get on the field so badly, he played tight end. He was even the wedge buster on kick returns. That's not something you see too many quarterbacks do. 2nd and 4 for Kansas City. A little bit of a delay to Charles, trying to fight his way close to the 40-yard line.
And defensive players hate quarterbacks with mobility that can run around and make plays. It makes it difficult to rush the passer because you never know where they're going to be. And even then, they have the ability to step up and slide and reset their feet very quickly.
Charles over 100 yards, 104 on the day. 3rd and 2. And these fans on their feet here at Quest Field. Charles stays in the game. Toss it back to him. Back inside. Reverses his field. Charles. And he's loose. Jamal Charles. Curry made the stop and saved the touchdown.
We talked about the Chiefs' ability and desire to to run the ball on third down. It's not there. Now watch the quarterback come back in your screen right here. Matt Castle. He's up there getting a block for Jamal Charles, his buddy. The more you can do. Players love seeing that. The quarterback downfield trying to get a block for the running back.
29 yards on the play, and it was David Hawthorne who pushed him out of bounds. Jones now. And the Seahawks getting a full dose of thunder and lightning in this Kansas City running game.
When Jamal Charles, you think about that run, Bill, I mean, got him bottled up, the ability to change fields, work all the way back across the field and come back at the backside. His speed.
190 today. They came in averaging just under 165. This is the 10th play of the drive upcoming. 2nd and 8 for the Chiefs.
They waste another timeout.
Play clock had gotten down to 2. Castle had to call a timeout. Two timeouts remaining. It came with just 33 seconds left in the third quarter. Chiefs are threatening. And tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, and then Hallmark Hall of Fame's November Christmas. That's all tonight, only on CBS, America's #1 network.
See Todd Haley over there asking Matt Castle what happened, why the timeout. And so much of their running game is predicated on the front look that they see from Seattle defensively. And so a lot of the responsibility falls on the quarterback and his ability to get him in the best play based on the front and coverage.
Charles in the backfield, 2nd and 8 for Kansas City. And they give it to Jamal Charles. Powers his way down inside the 5. Lofa Tatupu made the stop, the 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker.
They've done a really nice job. You know, you look at the way they've been able to run the ball up inside. Casey Wigman, Brian Wooders, Ryan Lilja, the interior of that Kansas City offensive line is getting movement, and they're getting up on the second level, making it difficult for those Seattle linebackers.
So that will be the final play of the third quarter. With our score, 21-17 Kansas City. The Chiefs are threatening. We'll return to Seattle after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. CBS, where more people watch the NFL this season than any other network. 3rd and 1 for Kansas City. Castle changing the play.
Oh, they're all screwed up.
Charles, stiff arm. Jamal Charles, touchdown. What an effort.
There's some chess going on up front there. You could see Seattle was changing defensively. Matt Castle was trying to change, looked like from a run to a pass, back to the run. They don't even block. There's penetration up inside, and Jamal Charles, just look at the penetration right up inside here. He almost makes the tackle in the backfield. Jamal Charles is able to bounce this run and finish.
It looked like he was going to be stopped for a loss. Kentuan Balmer had him about 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but a touchdown for Kansas City, and that's a big one. Suck up with the extra point. So it's an 11-point Kansas City lead, 28-17 here early in the fourth.
You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Jamal Charles with just his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. What a day he's had, 17 carries, 142 yards. And Washington is anxious, standing back at the 6-yard line. They will kick it to him, but a short kick from the 17. Just throwing his body out there, and the ball is loose. Kansas City says they have it.
Boy, you don't even want to be at the bottom of that pile right now, I can
You
tell
don't
you.
want to know what's going on down there. Well, they're saying Seattle has it.
That was a big hit. Somebody really hit Leon Washington. The ball definitely came out.
Seahawks will keep the football.
He's able to get it back.
Let's take another look.
Well, they get the short kick, and he gets hit by a bunch of different players, and it's sitting there. The ball's rolling on the ground, and Mario Williams looks like he has it.
He had it.
But just because you have it there doesn't mean you're going to come out with it. That's really what happens. There's a lot of things that happen at the bottom of the pile. You can see DeMario Williams there. He's not really in a great position from a leverage standpoint to really be able to hold on to it.
He absolutely did have it, but Seattle ultimately will get the football at their own 29-yard line. Lynch out to the 35. Well, coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway post-game show. Join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights from Week 12. That's all coming up on the Subway post-game show. Spotted just short of the 35-yard line. Just over 14 minutes remaining. 2nd and 4. Hasselbeck up the sidelines. Wow, what a catch.
You're going to say he landed out of bounds.
Mora was juggling the football, didn't have possession.
Another very nice throw by Matt Hasselbeck. Right on the boundary, but you got to give the quarterback some room. You see how he's fading away from it, and when he comes down, yeah, they're not going to give him that. His left shoulder clearly out of bounds, and not only that, but the ball was moving around a little bit.
And you just sense that's not
one
route tailor-made for Mike Williams.
Yeah, that's not one you want to challenge.
Inactive today. Pete has the flag out, but will he throw it? Waiting for word from upstairs, and he's not going to. No challenge. 3rd and 4 for Seattle. Hasselbeck brings it down. Loses the football. The Chiefs have it. Tamba Hali. The ball bounced right up to him.
Well, really a nice job by Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson is the one that gets the strip. And Tamba Hali right there to scoop it up. Good pressure on the pocket. You're going to see Matt a little sloppy with it. The ball's down low. Look at Derek Johnson. He gets the strip. And then Tamba Hali, their best pass rusher right there to scoop it up. But as you spin out here, you have to have 2 hands on the ball in the pocket. And part of the problem, Bill, is he's got that brace on the left hand. That makes it difficult for Matt to hold on to the football.
He's been playing with 2 small cracks in his left wrist. So a turnover for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have it at the Seattle 22. Charles bursts through. Jamal Charles down close to the 12-yard line.
Well, turnovers really tell the story for the Seattle football team. And, you know, it's typical with a lot of different teams. Not done a very good job of it. When they take care of the football and they come out on the plus side of the turnover differential, they're undefeated this year.
Jamal Charles over $150 with that carry. 2nd and 1. Charles again showing some tough running inside. Kansas City came in leading in the AFC West, just ahead of Oakland and San Diego. Oakland trailing Miami. They're playing late today.
Yeah, and I really like, you know, you look at San Diego's really starting to come on. They've won 3 in a row.
So 1st and goal. Slant route. Boom. Touchdown. His 3rd of the game.
Just a simple slant route to Dwayne Bowe, and they have not had an answer for Dwayne Bowe. We talked about disrupting him at the line of scrimmage. You're going to see Dwayne Bowe just going to run a little slant route. Look how far off the corner is. Kelly Jennings, you can't give Dwayne Bowe that much room in this part of the field.
14th touchdown catch of the season for Dwayne Bowe, who is having a breakthrough year. Suck up on to try the extra point. He boots it through, and Kansas City extends their lead. It's now 35-17 with 12:43 left to play. Bowe, 3 touchdowns today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Radio Shack. The Shack makes you a holiday hero. Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. And by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Kansas City with a touchdown after the Matt Hasselbeck fumble. So now it's 35-17 Chiefs. Leon Washington fumbled but ultimately got it back. Previous return, this is very short, fielded at the 25. And Washington is brought down at about the 33-yard line. So the Seahawks will go back to work on offense, but they've got a big mountain to climb here in the 4th. We're back in Seattle, and coming up, time permitting, after the game, the Subway postgame show. Join JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, Coach Cowher for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Subway postgame show. They try to set up the screen, and that could have been picked off, and now a late flag, and we could have roughing the passer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 34, unnecessarily extended his arms and shoved the quarterback to the ground. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And they call that on Travis Daniels.
Well, they brought the house. You're going to see all the pressure coming up inside here. And trying to run the screen. Matt Hasselbeck holds it as long as he possibly can.
And Todd Haley, he can be just a tad emotional on the sideline.
He'd be a tyrant on the sidelines.
I'm not sure who. He's either yelling at his own player or the officials. We're not quite sure.
My sense would be the officials.
So 1st and 10 for Seattle at their own 48-yard line. Forsett is in the backfield. And that is caught by Golden Tate, the rookie. He has a Seattle first down. And let's check in once again with JB in New York for an update.
Hey, Bill, what did he say, a tad emotional? Well, take a look at Denver narrowing the gap against the Rams. Kyle Orton up top, fade pattern, 41 yards to Brandon Lloyd. 3 plays, 65 yards. It's now 33-20 in the 4th. Back to the even-tempered ones, Bill and Rich.
JB, thank you. And that is intercepted by Kansas City. Another turnover. And again, it's Travis Daniels with the pick.
Well, that's not one that Matt Hasselbeck wants to put on film. And he was having a lot of success throwing the ball to Brandon Stokely here, but this is just too easy. You're just going to see him. He's just going to run up and run a little out route, but Travis Daniels is trailing, knowing that he has help over the top from the safety. This is just a force. You have to see out in front of throws, and you have to understand that in 2-deep coverage, Travis Daniels is going to trail and play underneath that route, knowing that he's got help from the safety over the top.
And it may be a case of what you talked about earlier, that without any running game and so many drop passes, tough situation on offense. Maybe Hasselbeck was forcing things a little bit.
Well, Bill, you just look up at the scoreboard there, and not only that, but the statistics. I really thought what was going to be the determining factor in this game was whether or not Seattle was going to be able to run the football offensively and stop the run. And you look at the rushing differential. Kansas City's rushed for 215 yards, and Seattle's rushed for 24 yards. That's the difference in the football game. You can't run the ball. It makes it difficult to make a living offensively, and it makes it even more difficult for a quarterback like Matt Hasselbeck.
2nd and 9. Thomas Jones out to the 43-yard line. Trufant made the stop. Jamal Charles, a big day. 19 carries for 155 yards. Wayne Bowe, 11 catches for 145. And that's 300 yards in offense right there from those two guys.
Well, some teams talk about a commitment to running the football. Kansas City lives it, man. They're a physical group. That's what Todd Haley said is the key for them, to be physical in the running game. It really sets the tone.
7 touchdowns in the last 3 games. They run the slant, incomplete that time, but they had it once again with Bowe, but he couldn't bring it in. So Kansas City will have to punt. .10:42 left to play. Washington again is the deep man, awaiting the punt from Dustin Colquitt.
And not giving Leon Washington many opportunities in the return game today.
Here they come. But he gets it away in plenty of time. Washington lets it bounce. And it takes a Kansas City roll. Finally down at about the 13-yard line. So once again, the Seahawks will return on offense after a 44-yard punt.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. And by Subway Restaurants, home of the famous $5 foot-long sub.
10.5 minutes left to go. The Seahawks start at their own 13-yard line. Hasselbeck going deep. Obamanu is all alone. Ben Obamanu, and he's going to score. '87 yards.
Well, some confusion there between Kendrick Lewis and Brandon Carr. I mean, something had to happen for Obamanu to run right by him.
There was not anybody within 15 yards of Ben Obamanu.
Well, they get moved, the double move. They double moves. Great route by Obamanu, and I think the safety there, Kendrick Lewis, was way too aggressive. There's no reason in this situation to be as aggressive as when you have a lead like this on first down to jump a route as a safety.
His 4th touchdown of the season. Maury's extra point is good, and suddenly it's a little closer. 35-24. 10:16 remaining.
Well, you're just going to see a double move, but watch the safety. Watch how aggressive he is. He takes the wrong angle. Protection gets done. Look at the safety. He's late to react, and look how flat he is. Absolutely no reason for that. Carr gets beat, but boy, he's expecting some help out of the safety.
And he looked like he was limping a little bit as he was trying to recover and make up ground. Kendrick Lewis.
Well, you can see Emmett Thomas there, the secondary coach, talking to both of them. Boy, you feel like you have the game under control with 10 minutes to go, and then you give up a big play like that and get Seattle right back in the game.
You got 2 rookies at safety. Then you've got Brandon Carr at right corner in just his 3rd year, and Brandon Flowers, who's one of the real talented up-and-coming young corners in the league, who's out today with a hamstring injury. So
yeah, there's no explaining that. You can't, hey, the film doesn't lie. His angle was poor, and it's a big reason why they gave up a big play there.
Inexperience in the Kansas City secondary, and it cost them there. They'll take a knee. Moran Tucker, they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Let's take a look at the standings in the NFC West. The Seahawks came in the only team at 500 or better. Game ahead of the Rams at 4-6. San Francisco and Arizona both at 3-7 coming into Week 12. St. Louis, as you saw just a few moments ago, is on top of Denver.
I don't think it's unrealistic, Bill, to think that they could finish 8-8, Seattle, and still win the NFC West.
Kansas City will want to take some time off the clock. Thomas Jones burst through on the left side to the 24-yard line. Lawyer Malloy in his 15th year out of Washington, 37 years old, and he made the stop.
And Lawyer Malloy, he still brings it. I mean, he's the captain in that secondary, and you mentioned tied for the team lead and with tackles, 52 coming into today's game. He also has 4 sacks.
Still trying to figure it out over on the Kansas City sideline. Some of the folks have left, but those who remain are loud. 2nd and 6. They toss it back to Charles. Jamal Charles with a nice little move inside. People talk about his speed and his burst, but he can get some tough yards as well.
I think he's running through some arm tackles, and Seattle's not tackled particularly well today. You have to gain tackle when you're talking about Thomas Jones and Jamal Charles. You have to get a lot of hats to the ball, and they've not done that.
165 yards on the day, 20 carries for Charles. He's been spectacular today. First down for Kansas City at their own 34-yard line. Under 9 minutes remaining. Thomas Jones is in the backfield. They give it to Jones. Brought down at the 37-yard line.
Well, they're still picking up 5 and 6 yards, Bill, on first down. That's really been the difference today. The Kansas City offensive line has done a nice job. These backs push the hole. They're patient runners. We talked about not a lot of negative runs.
2nd and 6 for Kansas City. Clock continues to run. Chiefs up by 11. Jamal Charles, and he's got another first down for Kansas City to the 45-yard line. And for those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Seattle Seahawks. I'm Bill McAtee, along with Rich Gannon. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following the game, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regularly scheduled time.
Boy, that offensive line, Bill, has done an outstanding job. Bill Muir, the veteran offensive line coach for the Chiefs. You see Casey Wigman there, getting him back from Denver a year ago has made a difference in the middle of that offensive line. They have dominated this game.
25 first downs for this Kansas City offense, and again, it's Bo, and they've gone to that slant a bunch today.
And that's actually a run, and they have that built-in option to kick it out wide and those built-in slants. And they got it started early to Dwayne Bowe. That first throw in the back of the end zone got things started for the Chiefs. And of course, up the boundary, they blow a coverage in the secondary and an easy slant route. Dwayne Bowe is a great receiver to throw those slant routes to because he's so big and he uses his body so well. As a receiver, as a quarterback, you love those big receivers that can work in the middle of the field.
Finally showing all that promise that he exhibited back at LSU in college. Charles loses his helmet, stopped at the line of scrimmage. Lofa Tupu made the stop, 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker. Played in only 5 games last season. So important to this Seattle defense. So 3rd and 1 for Kansas City. 10 of 15 and 3rd down conversions. Just over 6 minutes remaining.
Boy, they better hurry up. They're running out of time. They're inside 5 seconds. Now they gotta burn another timeout.
Castle takes the timeout. So they have to burn one. They'll have one remaining on 3rd and 1. Well, tonight on CBS begins with 60 minutes, followed by The Amazing Race, and then Hallmark Hall of Fame's November Christmas. That's tonight, only on CBS, America's #1 network. And we want to thank our great team here at CBS Sports on this Thanksgiving holiday weekend. The executive producer of the NFL on CBS is Sean McManus. The vice president of production is Harold Bryant. Today's game produced by Bob Dekas and directed by Andy Goldberg. We want to wish Andy a belated happy birthday. He kind of kept that under the radar, but happy birthday to one of the real fine gentlemen at CBS Sports. Senior producer of CBS Sports and the NFL Today is Eric Mann. The NFL Today directed by Bob Matina. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Lance Barrow. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Steve Karasik. 3rd and 1. Pump fake. Bo, the intended receiver, he's got it. And that could be the final nail in the coffin for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, what they've done is they've been running this slant route. Now they're going to run a little stutter off it. Dwayne Bowe, they're going to start him in, and then they're worked back up the field to get Jennings to jump inside. Matt Castle does a nice job throwing a ball up that Dwayne Bowe can come back to.
13 catches for 170 yards for Bowe and 3 touchdowns. What a day.
What a month.
Jones loose. First down and more. And once again, let's check in with JB in New York for an update here in Week 12.
Bill and Rich, what happened to the Oakland D on this play? Ricky Williams, I mean, is anybody there? Well, the rest, 45 yards, back to the promised land. 20 carries, 96 yards, and a touch. 33-17, Miami on top. Bill and Rich.
All right, JB, thank you very much. Back here in Seattle, 35-24, just over 4.5 minutes remaining. 16 yards on the previous play. From the Seattle 13-yard line. Thomas Jones. And he gets it down to the 6. Tatupu made the stop. The associate director of today's game is Jason Ross, the broadcast associate. Steve Murphy, the technical manager, is Rick Godwin, the technical director, Ed Collins, our audio supervisor, Phil Adler. Stats provided by Joe Sullivan and Jake Gutierrez, and our spotter, as always, the very talented Brett Bender. We want to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving holiday weekend. And I hope Black Friday and this weekend was not too crazy trying to get that early Christmas shopping done. 2nd and 3 for Kansas City. Play action. Castle. Touchdown. Moriarty, the tight end. Tony Moriarty. His 3rd touchdown catch of the season and 3rd of his career in the NFL. The rookie out of Iowa, the 3rd-round pick.
Well, he's been quiet today. He has caught everything thrown his way this season. When you run the ball so well, there's some big plays off the play action. They move the quarterback, and Tony Moriarty is going to be an outstanding player in this league. Runs great routes, he's got good size, and he's got terrific hands.
Suck up right through the middle, and Kansas City 42-24, just over 3.5 minutes remaining, and another outstanding performance from Matt Castle. 22 of 32 for 233 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. The Chiefs very aware that they ultimately control their own destiny. They have 2 big divisional games the next 2 weeks at home against Denver and then at San Diego. They go to St. Louis in Week 15, then finish out the regular season with 2 games at home against Tennessee, and it could all come down to Week 17 at Arrowhead against the Raiders.
It really could. You know, you look at the AFC West right now, I think the teams that are playing the best football are San Diego. That's really starting to come on. They're the #1 ranked offense, #1 ranked defense. It seems like they've had some things straightened out with their special teams. And how about Kansas City? They're really getting it done. Matt Castle taking care of the football. Hasn't thrown an interception in I don't know how long. Running game is outstanding, the best in all of football. And the defense starting to come up with turnovers. I really like what I've seen out of Kansas City here today.
And as good as Matt Castle's relationship is with that man, Pete Carroll, you know there was just a little something extra.
Oh, yeah.
For his old coach, who he could never start for.
That's
in
right.
College at USC. Squib kick, fielded by Washington. The director's blockers, and tripped up short of the 45-yard line. Show you what's ahead for the Seattle Seahawks. Carolina, then at San Francisco, here against Atlanta, at Tampa Bay, and they'll finish up the season against St. Louis here in Seattle.
Well, I don't want to say it's a favorable schedule, but you'd think they would beat Carolina and San Francisco, and this was a big game here today. Really a big game. They've been very good here in Seattle. They have not been good on the road. They got to get that straightened out.
So they'll go from their own 44-yard line. 3.5 minutes left in the game. 42-24 Kansas City. That's caught by Golden Tate, the rookie second-round pick out of Notre Dame. Left the Irish as Notre Dame's third all-time leading receiver.
I think that means hook, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if the receivers run a hook. Curl routes. Timeout, Kansas City.
Yeah, the Chiefs will take a timeout with 3:10 remaining. Todd Haley, he's fiery.
30 seconds.
It'll be a short timeout. There's Romeo Crennel, defensive coordinator. He's done an outstanding job, but he's on his fellas. Like, okay, we may have this one in hand, but we can't get sloppy out there.
Yeah, he's not happy. Listen, they had a nice little thing going. They've given up too many big plays here in the second half. They have not played as well in the second half as they did earlier in the football game.
Chiefs came in today ranked 12th overall on defense against the run. They were 12th and 25th against the pass. They've been pretty good, especially in their victories.
Yeah, the communication not where it needs to be in the second half defensively.
In Kansas City territory, 2nd and 1 for Seattle. Hasselbeck. That should have been intercepted. Derek Johnson, who has had 3 career interception returns for touchdowns, couldn't quite bring that one in. So we get word that the Raiders have lost. So an updated look at the standings in the AFC West.
San Diego has a tough game, as we know, against Indy.
So Kansas City will run their record to 7 and 4. 3rd and 1 for Set.
Say he was down.
Say he was down at the 48-yard line. Wallace Skilberry made the stop. No huddle. Just under 3 minutes remaining. 4th and 2 for Set.
That was not pretty.
And that will be it.
Well, they have not done a very good job. The offensive line, the running game, just not where it needs to be right here in Seattle. You look at that, 23 yards rushing today, and Kansas City has absolutely dominated them at the line of scrimmage.
Chiefs with 504 yards on offense. And they missed that man, Mike Williams, today.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, he was coming off back-to-back 100-yard receiving games, and foot injury was just too much for him today to be able to make a go.
Thomas Jones in the backfield, and he gets it. Into Seattle territory, down to the 49-yard line. Now, this was just the kind of game that Todd Haley said his Chiefs, they're going to be a good football team, needed to win. Chiefs much improved this season on both sides of the football. They came in ranked in the top 10 in 12 different categories, including #1 in rushing, averaging 165 yards a game. They've been better than that. In fact, Jamal Charles alone has rushed today for 173. So we've reached the 2-minute warning. Chiefs lead it 42-24. Back to wrap it up after this. We're back, and Todd Haley's still talking to the officials. He's been doing that all game long, and we mentioned he hurt his knee a couple of weeks ago doing a drill in practice. Quietly had surgery on it about a week and a half ago. Chiefs will take a knee, so he's been hobbled over in the Kansas City sideline, but he's still pacing up and down. Well, tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. That'll be followed by The Amazing Race, and then Hallmark Hall of Fame, November Christmas. That's all tonight, only on CBS, America's #1 network.
Well, Bill, what did Todd Haley tell us last night? It's about being physical. That's the key for us. And you know what they've done is they've gone back to putting the pads on during the week at a time in the season where a lot of head coaches are taking the pads off and pulling back. Haley and the Chiefs are getting after it. I think that's really made a difference. They wore full pads on Wednesday, on Thursday, and Friday of this week. They had 9-on-7 drills twice this week. That's who they are as a football team. They're physical. They're built to run the football, and you have to be able to hold up. They've had over 500 yards of offense here today. 270 of it have come on the ground. That's how they're winning. And of course, because they run the ball so well, Matt Castle has been able to throw it so much to Dwayne Bowe. They get so much one-on-one coverage because teams are spending so much time with extra defenders around the line of scrimmage. Good look at Sean Smith, who had a big day.
First player since William the Refrigerator Perry to have a sack and score a touchdown in the same game. Colquitt's punt. Turns it over. Washington makes the fair catch at the 14-yard line. It's been a big day for the big man.
Oh yeah, he scored, as you said, Bill, and it wasn't easy. He got to keep on grinding. Of course, a big sack, and made a lot of plays in the run defense. He's getting good push up the middle, and of course, a guy that size that has that athleticism and speed to rush the passer and also score some touchdowns. This football team's having fun. You look at the sidelines, you watch them practice, they're getting after it. They really have a good group of players out there that really love competing.
Hasselbeck, they run the screen. Leon Washington stopped at about the 20-yard line, and Kansas City did this today without Dexter McCluster, the rookie out of Ole Miss, who they have really missed for the most part on offense. They didn't miss him today. Out for the 5th straight game. They'd like to get him back for the stretch run. Washington, right side. Close to a first down at the 25-yard line. 1:23 remaining. Cluster on the sideline.
Chris Spencer struggling.
6th year out of Ole Miss, first-round pick in 05. He's been the starting center here in Seattle for the last 5 seasons.
What did Matt Hasselbeck tell us on Saturday? He said, Chris Spencer's the only guy I can take a snap from right now with my left hand in this brace. Interesting to see what happens if they stay in the shotgun. Can't afford any more injuries up front with that offensive line. It's been a big story this year, Bill. We talked about it. 8 different lineup changes along that offensive line, and it's hurt him in the running game. It's hurt him in the pass protection, and just not deep and talented enough to be able to overcome all those injuries. They're just going to kneel on it.
Now they'll just sort of let this one drift away. Kansas City the lead 42-24, and crowd doesn't like it, but they don't need any more injuries.
Good look at Matt Castle. I just think he's playing some really outstanding football. Think about what he went through last year and how difficult it was to be a part of a 4-12 football team, and thought he handled himself well. Wasn't surrounded by a ton of talent, yet he went out every week and tried to get better, and we found out a lot about his toughness and his character, his ability to handle adversity. It's really paid huge dividends for him this season.
Castle, since week 6, he's been the 2nd highest rated passer in the NFL, coming in this week behind only Joe Flacco. 2nd best touchdown to interception ratio, which got better today with 4 touchdown passes in that category. He came in trailing only Tom Brady. So disappointing day for the Seattle Seahawks. And a very good one for the Kansas City Chiefs as they win it 42-24. Hug for Romeo Crennel, the defensive coordinator. Seahawks record will drop to 5-6. The Kansas City Chiefs will run their record to 7-4. So our final score 42-24. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, followed by The Amazing Race and November Christmas For Rich Gannon and our entire CBS Sports team, this is Bill McEntee saying so long from Seattle. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.